Coming up on The Sporting Chef.
Today on the show, I'm going to share one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. But that's not all. Also on the show, we've got Stacy, Rick, Susie, C-Dub, and Buddy. So for those of you who've always wanted to go to Alaska, one of my favorite places in Alaska is SitkaAlaska. I've been there to shoot Sitka deer. You may have seen this on the Dead Meat Show. We did sea cucumber, gooey duck, Sitka deer. We had a guy make Sitka deer tongue tacos, which is not normally on the menu. There is no better place in the world for salmon, halibut fishing as far as I'm concerned. And again, if you look at Alaska, it's kind of on the southern end of Alaska, so the climate is really moderate. One of the places that I like to hang out when I'm in Sitka is Talon Lodge. Since 2005, starting from when the Hunt Fish Cook, when Donnie McElvoy and I went there to shoot a show, I've watched Talon Lodge grow, and again, I love Sitka, I love Talon Lodge, and this is not a paid endorsement. This is just a really cool place to hang out. Whether you go to Talon Lodge or anywhere else there, Sitka's the place to be. So today on the show, I've got a salmon recipe and a halibut recipe, and this is king salmon and halibut that I brought back from Sitka to cook. But before that, I want you to check out Stacy Lynn Harris.
Normally in the South, you'll hear of fried chicken and waffles, but rabbit is not only healthier, but it has got a sweeter taste. It goes perfectly with the savory waffles that I'm gonna be making, and it goes perfectly with the maple syrup that I'm gonna be using with a little bit of hot sauce. And it is gonna be amazing, and you need this recipe in your arsenal. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I've heated up my oil in my Weston fryer, and I've been soaking overnight my rabbit. Now, I have gotten all of the silver skin off of the rabbit pieces, and I've just put them into strips, like chicken strips. Put a little bit of hot sauce on the rabbit, and then I'm gonna put it into my flour mixture, which is flour, paprika, salt, and pepper. Okay, so I am going to put this right down in my fryer. As you can see, my fryer gets quite a lot of use around here. While this is frying, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, but I'm gonna go make the waffles now. We're gonna let this go for a few minutes and we're gonna get it all the way done. These are savory waffles, so I'm gonna be adding about 2 tablespoons of cornmeal to my flour mixture. I've got flour, sugar, and baking soda in my homemade waffle dry mix. I need to add a little bit of salt. You'll want to make sure that it has salt. All right, for the wet mixture, you're going to be using buttermilk, and you're going to mix all of this together. Butter, a whole stick, okay? And actually, I like to use a stick and more. And then 3 eggs, right from the fresh chickens this morning. The chickens hatched a couple of eggs for me. They knew I would be making waffles today. All right, I'm gonna be putting 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Now, I normally use sage, but my sage died on me this year. We've had a drought here in Alabama, and it's been a pretty major drought. So I'm gonna be using thyme, which is it's my favorite anyway. I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna pour the wet ingredients into the dry. You don't wanna over mix it because it'll get a little bit tough on you. So I'm gonna just pour this in the middle right here. And the more, really, the better, even if it comes out the sides, which I know is probably not what you're supposed to do, but it makes the better waffle to me. Now I'm gonna show you how to stack up the Southern fried rabbit and waffles. You have to put some underneath, because you want to get rabbit and waffle in every bite. I'm gonna put a little bit of hot sauce right on top of it, and then I'm gonna pour my yummy maple syrup on top of that. Now, I think any king anywhere would want this. And if you're watching this show, you have to be a king or a queen, and you deserve this meal.
So not everybody has access to fresh, wild king salmon and halibut. And all farmed salmon isn't bad. What you want to look for is the country of origin. I prefer New Zealand, Nova Scotia. The Scottish salmon is really good. I get mine from Catalina Offshore Products, who's been a part of the show forever. My buddy Tommy Gomes, who you've seen on the Sporting Chef show. And if you see color added or natural color added, I avoid that. I normally avoid South American salmon. So before you Chilean people say, hey, our salmon is the best, it's a personal preference. But when you can, in the summer, even in the big box stores, you can find wild sockeye, wild coho, all over the place. Just get it when it's fresh. And if it's not all that fresh, of course, you don't want to eat it if your fish smells bad. But you can use your game saver to make sure that your fish, whether it's the stuff you catch yourself or the stuff you buy at the store, tastes its freshest. Salmon, halibut, Sitka, and a whole lot more right here on the Sporting Chef. Welcome back to the Sporting Chef Show. I'm Scott Lasath, and today I'm cooking salmon and halibut in my tribute to one of my favorite places in the world, Sitka, Alaska. Now, I have my Alaskan king salmon here that has been safely entombed in the game saver bag. The skin, I like to leave the skin on, but I also like crispy skin. So normally when you're cooking fish, the rule is that you want to put presentation side down first. Whatever side that whoever's going to eat it sees, that goes down first. But I like crispy skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the skin crisp, and then I'm going to flip it over. But before I do that, I want to season it with my all-time favorite rub. This is the High Mountain Salmon Rub. I got my VersaTop over here. I'm going to add a little bit more oil because the oil is going to help that skin get nice and crispy. And I'm not gonna move this around a lot. Once the skin is crispy, it's gonna lift right up. The Talon Lodge, where I've done the guest chef thing since 2005, somebody else was there last year, and her name is Susie Jimenez.
So obviously we know how to do most of our dishes, right? Or wild game or steaks or wild turkey, all that good stuff. But there's some sides that we need to talk about. We got to get creative here. So one of the biggest things that I've always watched past, right, is the canned baby corn. And I kept thinking, like, what if we grabbed the little baby corn that nobody ever seems to use in that aisle and grilled that and made that into the Mexican corn? Like, hello, right? Yes. But then the other thing I do love that's like a good substitute for potatoes is cauliflower. But people are starting to get tired of this cauliflower. So we're gonna turn this into like a cauliflower steak. We're gonna get a cauliflower head. You're gonna cut it nice and thick, right? Gonna get a skillet over medium-high heat. A little olive oil. Let that heat up. And then we're gonna put the steak right inside that skillet. With the cauliflower, I'm gonna add the garlic because I kind of want it to be crunchy but like still burnt. I'm gonna do a little bit of garlic in there. So while this is getting nice and golden brown, we've already grilled the baby corn. Queso fresco right on top of there. Then we're gonna add crema fresca. And we're just gonna put a nice little dollop on top of it like this. Limon. And then I'm gonna do the Trail Dust High Mountain seasoning. Voila, look how fast and easy that was, right? So we're gonna go back to our cauliflower, flip it. You can see how nice and golden brown that is. So we're just gonna sear it a little bit longer and then we're gonna dress it. Here we go. We're gonna add tomatillo sauce to this. You got raisins on top of that. And then we gotta scoop out all of this yummy garlic. We're gonna put that right on top of it. There you go, guys. It's simple enough just to get some sides going. My God, I swear this is so delicious.
Getting back to the salmon, you can use some bolder flavors. This is a wasabi lime cream sauce, starting with some lime juice. If you want to get the most out of your limes, you want to squeeze them with one of these guys here. Wasabi paste. You can buy the wasabi in the tube, or you can buy it in the powder, which is a lot cheaper. And you just want to mix a little cold water with it to make a paste. I'm also going to add just a little bit of sugar to it. This is Mexican crema. That's going into a hot pan. Then I've got a little of the wasabi. And again, that's going to look like a lot of wasabi. And then of course, a little lime juice. And I'm just going to keep stirring this. You want to make sure you stir that lime juice in so that it doesn't break on you. I'm just going to let that simmer for a little bit. I'm gonna give this a flip. I think it's time. So today I've got the salmon, I've got the halibut, and I've got Rick Vonk, who is a personal chef in the Huntsville, Alabama area. Rick's been a part of the show for a while on both sides of the camera, and here's Rick now.
Today, we're gonna take it a little bit over the top. We're gonna make some mussels and chorizo. You're gonna love it, and let's get to it. All right, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get our pan hot. It's actually hot right now. Throw a little bit of butter in there, onions and garlic. The next item that's gonna go in is our chorizo. So let's go ahead and put that in. All right, let's talk about these mussels for just 1 second. They're a delicate item. Now, when I go and get mussels from any of the fish markets, I want to make sure that they're nice and sealed up, just like so, as opposed to something like that, or something that's damaged, cracked, and comes apart like that. We're going to set those in. We want to steam these, so we're going to use a nice white wine and let those just sit for a little bit. All right, now that's exactly what we're looking for. We want to have a white wine butter sauce in there. You've heard that nobody should trust a skinny chef. I'm working on my trustworthiness, so I'm going to throw in some heavy cream. So we'll let that sit for just a little bit more, That sauce is gonna thicken up just a tiny bit. What we're gonna do is we'll end up toasting some ciabatta bread, and that will help us lop up that sauce. All right, everything's cooked. We are ready to plate. We're gonna take the chorizo and onion and garlic mix with a little bit of the sauce. Here we go, back with the mussels. Now we top with a few tomatoes, some microgreens. Now the bread goes in. There you go, Scott. Steamed mussels, chorizo, and a white wine butter sauce. You cannot get any better than that.
Up next, halibut, C-dub, and Buddy T. Welcome back to the Sporting Chef. The salmon is done. Now it's time for the halibut. I'm going to season that also with the High Mountain Salmon Rub. That's going to go on to the Versatop. The oil is hot. Meanwhile, I have some other ingredients, and they're all going to be cooked right there on the Versatop. Green onions, fresh ginger. The substitute for fresh ginger is not dried ginger. Two very, very different flavors. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces up and then give it a smash. That's going to release the oils, give it some more flavor. I'm going to mince that up. So this is going to be an orange ginger sauce. So there's the ginger, here's the orange. Easiest way to segment an orange or any other kind of fruit, you get a flat spot, then you can kind of go around the outside. If your halibut is dry, it's your fault. You just cooked it too long. Quick flip, got some color. I'm going to put a little lime juice on top of that. I can start adding my other flavors there. Just before you serve a piece of fish, if you put a big squeeze of lemon or lime on it, it livens up the flavors. There's some orange juice concentrate, that's sweet. There is some rice vinegar for sour. Here's a little Asian chili garlic sauce or chili sauce and a little soy sauce. Now the green onions and the fresh ginger. That's everything but the orange. Now I want you to check out C-Dub, direct from Idaho.
We're going to do a dish today with halibut that features tarragon, and it gives it a very subtle taste and one of my favorite spices. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do this on the stove. We're going to start first with a little avocado oil. We're going to do this in a 12-inch aluminum Dutch oven, and our oven is already hot. And so we're going to start with some garlic. And this is more garlic than one might think you would use for halibut, but trust me, it works great. A little bit of lemon juice, a cup and a third of white wine, and we're gonna add our chunks of halibut in there. Let's go ahead and add our tarragon right now. Okay, we've got our fish simmering, and now we're gonna go down to our fire pan, add some charcoal, and we're gonna bake this for about 20 minutes. Okay, our halibut is done, and you can see how that tarragon garnishes each piece, and we cut these kind of in steaks. We have some of our homemade tartar sauce, and it's gonna be just one of those fish dinners that you're gonna always remember.
Thank you, C-Dub. Now, if you ever wanted to know what it's like to be a lodge chef, can you imagine being on an island resort for 3 or 4 months at a time? You get a little hinky, I would imagine, being in the same place for so much time, but you know what? They don't. They love it there. I sat down with the chefs at Talon Lodge on the deck. It's about a 10-minute boat ride from the harbor, from the marina in Sitka. Here's what I learned from them about what it's like being a lodge chef during the summer.
So I'm the pastry chef for the lodge. This is my 5th summer here. So I came up here just looking for an adventure and how to grow and expand in my pastry life.
And Lori was explaining to me earlier today that, you know, her background, it's math and science and chemistry, which is what you kind of need to be a pastry chef. That's why we don't do it. Am I right? You can't really adjust. You can't adjust at the end.
No.
You can't go, oh, we can fix
It
this.
is an exact science. And we
Right.
really appreciate
Right.
every day being here and the things you do, Chef. To work every day, see this view, even on the worst day, if it's raining, we're picking up a food order, we're still in Alaska, and we love what we do.
Being on an island that's 8 acres, when you live with most of the staff, a good attitude is key, because without a good attitude here, you can work as hard as you want, but you're definitely going to have to make sure you have a great attitude, because you want to create a flow. You don't want to just work. And again, teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh,
Yeah.
a well-oiled machine.
But it's a great experience, and check out Talon Lodge. Really, it is unique. There's no better place in the universe than Talon Lodge. Pretty interesting, right? The guys are really talented, especially Lori, the pastry chef. It's really hard to walk by the freshly baked bread. She bakes all the bread, she makes all the desserts. Somebody who doesn't bake all the bread and make all the desserts, but does some pretty unusual things here on the Sporting Chef, is my buddy, Buddy.
Okay, Scott, we're showing you a little something different with this pellet grill. My son caught a redfish and he butterflied it out. We cut it on the top. We'll make a video of this later, and the throat's all holding it together. It's gonna make for a nice presentation. And we pour some jalapeno sausage out there for a little bit of drippings on the fish. Just utilize your pellet grill a little bit more. Here's a different idea for you. I'm sure you're gonna like it.
The Money Shot is next, but first, here are some super important messages that you won't want to miss. Stay tuned, there's more to come on The Sporting Chef. Welcome back to the Sporting Chef. I've created 2 dishes. I have this halibut dish over here. I've got the salmon over here. That's the salmon with the wasabi lime cream sauce. The halibut has an orange ginger sauce. Both of those recipes are on the SportingChef.com website. And for those who are fans of the Michael David line of wines, you're probably familiar with Freak Show. You know, a Freak Show Cab and the Freak Show Red Blend, I'm sure you've probably seen. However, there's now a Freak Show Chardonnay and a Freak Show Zinfandel, and they all go exceptionally well with what I have right here. No better wines for your fishing game than Michael David. Okay, now the salmon, I'm gonna get a little of that wasabi lime cream sauce. Leave it a little bit underdone, nothing bad's gonna happen. The halibut has got a little glaze on it from that ginger orange sauce on top. Special thanks to all the sponsors that make our show possible. Weston, Camp Chef, High Mountain, Game Saver, and they're all here on the Sporting Chef, as well as our guest today, Stacy Lynn Harris, Rick Vonk, C-Dub, Buddy, and Susie Boom Boom Jimenez, all right here on the Sporting Chef, and especially to Talon Lodge in Sitka, Alaska. Check out Talon Lodge. If you're going to go to Alaska one time, that's the time you want to go to Talon Lodge. Been going there since 2005. It's my favorite place in the world, other than right here on the Sporting Chef Show.